Anna Nordengren, welcome to Worth to Be Seen podcast. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be invited to be on your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I would just from the start, I would like to just say that I noticed an ad you had on LinkedIn which caught my attention, and that is probably the reason why you're here too, because I reached out to you because of this ad.
Yes.
And you were talking about being a business leader, and that is not always the money that is the main factor that drives you, and it just caught my attention. And from that, I have learned a lot more about you. You're a business mentor, and you have 30 years plus of business experience. And ICF, there are things here that I don't even know what it is.
No.
But
you don't have to know.
I don't have to know. But it's very impressive, I have understood, and you have tons of experience. So this will be very interesting for me.
Yeah, thank you. As I said, I'm very honored to be here and get this opportunity to express my views on how we run our businesses and why we run our businesses, and the struggles we run into in our businesses, and how to move through those struggles. And I think, as you said, interesting that you noticed this post that I put up on LinkedIn, because I work with a lot of small entrepreneurs or small or medium-sized businesses, and often we think of entrepreneurs or business owners as people that are only driven by money.
Yes.
But I noticed that is rarely the case. And I think also the people who think they should only run their business based on money, they get stuck and they don't understand why. And I think a lot of the struggle comes there, because we think we have to find our motivation in the money, but when we can connect to something deeper within, something that we really want to achieve, that's when having a business becomes more easy, more fun, more meaningful for us.
Yes, and it just goes more by itself. It doesn't come to be such an effort, then it's more just something that flows away. Yeah, I'm looking forward to get into this, get deeper into it. But first, I want to know a little bit about you, because what you do now, you're coaching others and you're helping others to find these specific things. So what made you come into this then? How did you get into it?
Yes, I mean, I have my degree in business administration so many years ago. I cannot even remember, 35 plus something. Yes. And I have been an employee, both an employee and employed in different leadership positions for many years, and I have run my own business, and I have run businesses together with other people as well. But then I'd say 10, 15 years ago, perhaps it started, my own life became quite difficult. I had difficulties in my marriage, and that also affected the business, because we were running a business together, me and my ex-husband then. And so 7-8 years ago, I got divorced, and then I really got into a really deep crisis. Everything in my life, I mean, I really hit what you say, rock bottom. It felt as I lost everything. All the structure I had in my life. Even my therapist told me, well, Anna, you lost everything at once. You lost your relationship, your money, your job, your home.
Oh my.
And I was, that's about it. So what I had, I mean, I have my 3 children, and I had myself and my health. I'm really happy about my health. But then I really had to dig deep within myself to see where I wanted to go. And fortunately, I already have a rather deep yoga practice, so I had this space where I could tap into myself and find calm, even though there were really chaos around me. But what I realized when I started to dig deeper is that there is so much strength within us human beings, and that there are so many other ways we can live our lives. We can, if you really want to change our lives, it is possible. Because I was stuck in a situation that I thought would be impossible to change, but it wasn't. It took some time, took a couple of years. It took a lot of effort, a lot of working with myself and the people around me, but it is possible. And I think what a lot of people, when you experience that, then you want to share it with other people.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true. When you were saying that you hit rock bottom and that kind of you got into that state of that there was nothing left, just reminded me of the lyrics from Janis Joplin and me and Bob McGee. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
And
That's so true.
that is kind of true then. Yes.
Yeah. But that is really true, and I think that's kind of the part of the message I want to bring to people. If you look closer, there isn't anything to lose. I mean, you don't have to be afraid to go after your dreams and try to change. And if you want another job, or you want another relationship, or whether you're unhappy with whatever it is in your situation, don't be so afraid. It is. I could do it. You can do it. It may take some time, and it won't happen unless you yourself start, but you have it within you to do it. But it seems it's easier if you first hit rock bottom, because then you really realize you have no choice.
Yes, because that leads me to actually one of the questions that I would want to ask you, that sometimes it seems like it is the choice that scares you of making the change.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yes, I think so too. Absolutely. Yes. And people are so afraid to making the wrong choice. But I think there are no wrong choices. You make a choice, you commit to that choice, and then it becomes the right choice. And if it isn't, then you make a new choice. Every day you can make, every minute, every second you can make a new choice.
Yes.
So don't be so afraid. So even if you try to start a new career or start a business or whatever it is you want to do, you can always make a new choice if it didn't work out the way you intended.
True, yeah. And it does hold us back. In your line of work then, when you work with business leaders and company owners and things like that, who might have sometimes then got stuck into this wheel of what they think they should want, but maybe it isn't really what they want.
Yes.
And how do they get out of that? How do you make them see and realize and make that effort, or not be so afraid taking the steps? How do you walk them through that?
I think it's about different way of creating awareness, so they can kind of step out of the situation and not so be within the situation, to step outside the situation, so you can see that there are in fact options. I think one of the biggest problems is, but once you get into that kind of a situation, then you get really stressed. I mean, really, really stressed. And the thing that happens to people when you are stressed is that your brain stops working, basically. Yes. Because you can only react. You react out of fear. But all creativity, all strategy, it just goes away when you are stressed. So I would say the first step I try to bring people to is to find a sort of calm, become more mindful. It can actually be about breathing, learn how to take deep breaths just to center yourself. And then when you become calmer and more aware of yourself, then it's easier to see that you have more choices than you think. And of course the coach, and then you come to the coaching where you use the questions to help people shift perspective, because we are all, I mean, me too, we are all so stuck in our minds, but when we get help from the outside, we can shift our perspective, and then we realize, wow, there are so many options out there.
Yes, it's true, because having somebody looking at things from a different perspective could really open your eyesight, just to evaluate things in a different way. Yeah. Now these fears, do they come? Is there like a common place they come from? Is it like the childhood, or is it where do these fears originate from mostly? Would you believe?
I think I think both. Actually, I think somehow we as humans are born with innate fear. I mean, that's something, we have it in our DNA, I think.
It's like negative bias.
Yeah, it's a negative bias, and that it's about survival.
Yes.
The problem is that these days there are not that many tigers or lions that we have to be afraid of, but still our biology is programmed as if there were deadly threats everywhere.
Yes.
So we react to, I mean, a late email or being late for the bus or whatever. We react as if we were about to die.
Yes.
So I think we are programmed, or our biology is set up for fear. But then also I think in our early years we are really taught to be afraid of a lot of things.
Of failure, maybe. One of them.
Failure, and to be embarrassing, and to be too much, or you're stupid, or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, I sometimes hear really sad conversations between parents and younger children, how the parents tell them, you're wrong, you are bad, you're a bad boy, and you cannot do this and that, and or this is dangerous, don't go there, don't talk to that stranger. Or, I mean,
all these things, yes. Like the world is a difficult, dangerous, bad place to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that we teach our children and to be cautious and be more afraid of things, and of course that brings us, if that helps us to survive as a child, then we will obviously bring it with us into adulthood, where it sometimes doesn't fit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we hear it from the people we love the most often. I mean, we get it from our parents.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to question it, whether it's true or not.
Yeah. And we mean well when we do that to our children. We still mean well.
Of course. I have 3 children myself, so I know, a guilty as charged. I mean, I have done it too, and perhaps I still do, to say you cannot do that, you have to do this, and make sure you don't, and blah, blah, blah.
Be careful out there.
Yeah, be careful out there, really.
Yes. So when people are limiting themselves, is there any way to be self-aware of it, or is there anything that one could be observant about? Is there anything you can see in a person when they're doing this that they might not be aware of themselves?
Well, sometimes you can hear it from the way people speak about themselves and their situation. I can hear people say, I should do this and that. And then you question, should? Do you really have to? And at first they say, yes, I should. Okay, do you want to? And then you can start thinking about, do I really want to do this?
Yes.
Is it really necessary? What could happen if I didn't? So I think bringing awareness to, we have so many shoulds programmed into our minds.
And when we make a change, I mean, I think we've all felt that at some point. You might feel that you're in a rabbit wheel or a rabbit hole, and you just want to make a change, but you are concerned about what will others think.
Yeah.
What will the neighbors think if I get rid of one of the cars, or what will that we don't want anybody to get the idea that we have failed in some way, or that we don't want to hear the talk about, oh, they couldn't afford this, they couldn't afford that. So again, it's fear.
Yeah, I think you picked up so many different fears there, actually, in that short sentence. We have the comparison. We can compare ourselves to other people, and we are afraid of failure. We are afraid of being ridiculed, perhaps, or questioned, to not fit in, to not be enough. I mean, there are so many fears, and they are so entangled.
Yes.
So you really have to start looking closer at them. I thought I was afraid of failure, but I couldn't really. When I looked at my behavior, I couldn't really see how it fit with because I have done some quite courageous things. I mean, crazy.
Congratulations.
No, but I don't feel like a courageous person. But then I can see in some situations I hold myself back. And then I realized that it was not the failure that I am afraid of, it's the fear of making a mistake.
Oh.
And that's subtle difference, but there is a difference.
Teach me.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, failure is about embarking on something and you don't succeed. And that it's not what is holding me back, because I don't even I fail all the time.
Yes, we do. We do in general.
Yeah, and I'm not so bothered about that, and I think I'm less bothered than other people about what other people think about me in that way. But fear of making mistake, that someone would catch me making an error, saying something that is incorrect, writing something that is not correct. And I think it's about being this good, perfect girl, having good grades in school. And so that is something I really have to monitor myself, so I don't get stuck in this, I cannot do this. What if I don't do it perfect the first time?
Yeah. Now you got me. Now I got hooked on something that I wasn't expecting to ask you. But since you put it that way, is there a difference between men and women in that sense? Because you were mentioning the perfect girl and what the expectations are from a woman's point of view versus a male point of view. Because I guess you work with people from both sexes.
Yeah.
So do you see there's a difference there?
I wrote something about this the other day, actually, on LinkedIn as well, the difference between men and women. And what I feel when I talk to men, I coach quite a lot of men as well, is that they are as fearful, full of anxiety, fear of maybe not that afraid of disappointing people as women are, more like they are afraid of what will other people think of me if I do this, or not being man enough.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that, the kind of alpha feeling, or we're competitive towards each other in a more of a social structural kind of way.
Yes.
Because I guess that's also kind of genetic, the strongest male gets to choose.
Yeah.
And it's just those things that are coded there that is kind of hard to just get rid of, because social standards says differently, but there's still a bit of the code there, and maybe there are some of those codes also for women that is kind of hard to shake off sometimes, because many times successful women, they take on male traits.
Absolutely.
In order to be successful in the business world, so they act and behave more with masculine traits.
Yes, but one thing I came to think about the difference between men and women is this about being able to be vulnerable, because today often we hear and read that is actually a strength to be able to be vulnerable, to show the authentic you, and that you don't have all the answers, and you are stressed, or you're sad or anxious or whatever. There I think I can see a difference, that women find it easier to show themselves vulnerable, even when there are more people than one other people in the room. Whereas men, I think they are more like, no, when we are one-to-one, yes, I can show myself vulnerable and talk about more deep stuff, or showing who they really are. But in a group, they are more like they have to be, like you said, composed,
masculine, and we have this hierarchy of male or masculinity in us. I also see that, or an observation I have made, is that women tend to choose more, the line of their businesses is more in line with what they like to do, while men seem to just do anything they can make money from, and that kind of sometimes puts them in a situation later on the line that they're actually doing things that they don't like doing. While I think that in many cases, when it comes to own businesses, starting businesses, it seems like females or women do more something that they like doing. I like doing yoga, so I'll have a yoga class. I like doing this, but men will just go for the money, it seems.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you point that out, and I think it also relates to the first post you saw that I wrote.
Yes.
Actually, that there can also be a danger when you start your business from your heart. I mean, you should be connected to have a why or meaning or purpose, but if you have to think about the money too. I mean, you cannot run a business without making money from it, because I see it like the money is like the oxygen. I mean, you need to have the business cannot breathe without the money.
No,
and
exactly.
I think I meet more women that feel that money is somehow bad or even evil, and making money makes them a bad person. And then it's really hard to get your business off the ground if you feel I cannot sell, I cannot charge for my services. So even though you start your business from your heart, make sure you get paid too.
Of course, yes. Because it's needed. In order to make it a long-term commitment, you need to obviously be able to live from it.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having some set aside as well for emergencies.
Absolutely not.
So that is, I guess. But then again, going to the top of it and making it the only thing also reflects some difficulties. And we're taught that money is equal to fulfillment and happiness, while we many times come to the conclusion that that wasn't really so. So what is it that makes us fear the lack of money so much?
Again, I think it's something that's really programmed into us. And I don't say that money is not important. I mean, our society is kind of built on, it's a way of exchanging services. And if you want to buy food, you need money. If you want a house to live in, you need money. But there are so many... we attach so much meaning to money that I think is doesn't serve us at all. We can do a lot of things in life that doesn't cost money.
Yes.
I mean, when we look at it, I think most of the really, really valuable things, they don't cost money.
No, they
like
don't.
Having good relationships and having a fulfilling work and
time by itself.
Just
time. Because that's pretty much what we're doing when we're getting money. It's a kind of a representation of time that I put into something, and now I have money for it instead. And our goal is to trade as little time as possible for as much money as possible. That's kind of the idea of the whole system.
Yes.
And if you get stuck in that and you're just consuming all the money you're making, you're actually just selling your time out, and one day you will just be old and grumpy.
Yeah, I would say dead.
And dead. Dead too. And what did you have for it? You know?
Yes.
So that is the trade-off. Is that many times, if you get into a situation where you're spending a lot of money, you will end up just spending a lot of your time making the money and not really enjoying it the way you should.
Yes, and I think society teaches us that we have to hoard a lot of money. We need so much money in the bank, and we have to save for retirement. And I'm not saying we shouldn't save money, but I meet a lot of people that actually have quite a lot of money, and still they are not ready to. They dream about starting their own business, or they dream about investing in their own personal or spiritual development, but they say, I cannot afford it. And I say, okay, you have 3 cars, 2 houses, you go on a holiday 3 times a year,
eat out 2 times a week.
Yes, and still you cannot afford to invest in yourself or invest in a business that would fulfill yourself. No, but I have to save a little more, and I think is a really sad story. And that is something I'm really passionate about, to help people break free from that perspective and see you can actually start. It doesn't mean that you have to sell your house or sell your cars. Just start small steps, and sooner than you think there will be something growing, and you will still be safe.
Yeah, it will still be safe. Yeah. So do you have any story to tell about when you've managed to do that, like a real life story?
Yes, I have clients, and right now one client come to mind. She actually came to me because she was really frustrated in her work, and stressed out, unhappy with the situation. So I have a program. It's basically called it's a Flow Mentorship. How to get more flow into your life, to live more in the now, and to be calmer, happier, find more meaning. But at the end of the program, it's a 6-month program. Actually, she started thinking about maybe I should start my own business.
Wow.
She was still there in the working for the company, but then she actually started. So then she signed up for another, I cannot remember whether it was for another 6 months or another 3 months or whatever. So then I got to guide her through this, starting her business. And now, I think it's 2-3 years ago, she's running her business. She has her business. She's no longer with this company. And I can also see how she's more authentic now, how she can express the things that are important to her. And she's perfectly fine, thriving in her business, and that's just one example.
That is one example, and that is a perfect example of what you were talking about before, being negative bias. Because when you hear that bush rattle, it's safer to assume it's a snake, than it is a rabbit. And so we just assume that, and we just don't go there because it might be something dangerous.
Yes.
While in many situations, it's preventing us from actually seeing new possibilities and doing new things.
Yes.
And it keeps us. Then again, it's usually the money that is keeping us from that, because we're afraid to lose it, because, as you were saying, we're taught that you need a lot of it, you need to set away a lot of it, and whatever you do, you should just earn it and spend it and save some to spend later, and so forth and so on. And we're just terrified of losing it. While, as you were saying here to start with, you were in the rock bottom, and I guess that also was a bit financially
absolutely,
then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and look at you.
Yeah.
And the question is that if that wouldn't have happened, maybe you wouldn't have taken those steps that were needed to come to do this now, helping others.
No, and the opportunity it has given me to expand as a human being, to explore what's possible, just to how I can share with other people. I always had this urge to help and inspire other people, but I was stuck in work situations where that absolutely wasn't my job to do that. But now I can do that more or less full time, to inspire people and to help people become more, to live more meaningful lives. That's actually what I think I'm here for.
Yes. And it gives you those dopamine doses that you need. That is something that I, without getting into what I do more than this, but actually being benefiting others gives that kind of dopamine kick, and it just makes you feel good in pretty much the same way as getting. It's about the same process in the brain. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
Now, if there was like a step-by-step guide, or if you could give away some free advice for if somebody is in that situation, maybe it has a work situation or a relation situation, and the fear is these economical things, or what would be the steps to take just to try it out and still stay in a safe place?
Yes. This may surprise some, but I think yoga, Qigong, meditation, because, as I said, when you are in this really stressed state, everything is dangerous. You don't see the possibilities, you cannot create the possibilities, you don't make the connections, you don't meet the new people. So if you are in that really stressful state, I think it's number one is to look after yourself, your state. It can be going to the gym, start to eat better food, sleep at night. Sleep. Don't forget to sleep. I know so many people don't sleep well at night, and I think if everybody got 8 hours good sleep every night, we would have a completely different society, because there would be a different kind of human beings walking around. So start there, because you cannot start and make changes from a place where you are really stressed. And then I'd say sit down and get really clear on what it is that you want. Dare asking yourself, what is it that I really want? Or is this something that my parents wanted, or that society told me that I should want, or my teachers taught me I should want this? What is it that I really, really, really want? And once that is clear, sit down and ask yourself, okay, what little one step can I take today to bring me closer to that big dream? I think that is where I should start.
Would start there, yeah, and not being so hooked up. What will the others think? You're
No.
just like what is in it? What do I want?
Yeah.
What do I feel? Do I care what the neighbors think, or do I care what these people think?
Yeah.
Yes.
So why do we care about that? Tell me why.
That's the thing, because usually many of those people who you are fear of what they will think are people that you're not really all that high in standard of you anyway. It's like the neighbors or people at work, or some people that you don't really mingle with, or you have no relation to them at all. It's just like people in the town. What will they say if I get rid of the big car, or
if I get divorced, or if I get a job with less salary or whatever?
Exactly.
What will they think? Most people don't think about other people anyways.
Exactly.
I mean, they don't care. They are busy running their own show.
You're not that significant
No.
as you think. Nobody will talk about it. But you were mentioning yoga. I think most people know at least what yoga is. At least when it comes to the physical act of it's a. How would I say, somebody who doesn't do it? I do it sometimes myself, but for those who don't do it, it's a kind of a very advanced way of self-awareness and stretching. You kind of get into your muscle fibers, and you treat your body. Qigong, I think, is something that most people maybe heard of, but not really know what it is.
Yeah, when I first got in contact with Qigong, and I hope not my teacher is listening now, but the first
we'll beep through this whole part.
Yeah. The first time he introduced me, he said, well, you should try Qigong. And I was, Qigong, that's for old men, not for me. But then he's my personal trainer. So somehow he introduced the Qigong in the gym practices anyway. And now I'm completely hooked. I do Qigong every morning. That completely changed my life.
All right. It's these movements, slow movements.
Really, really smooth, slow movement. And you become really, really centered and grounded in yourself.
Yes.
And this was at a time, I think 2 or 3 years ago, where I had a lot of anxiety, and I felt stuck, and I couldn't see what the next step would be. My business was not doing as well as I hoped, and I had a lot of struggle with my children and also with finances.
Yes.
And I couldn't see what's my next step. And then we started doing Qigong, and since then I do it more or less every day, and that got me into this place where I can always, more or less always, find this calm place within myself, where I have access to my intelligence, to my creativity, to solutions, to people.
To all those things.
Yeah. And also that it isn't about all those outer requirements, because I can actually find this space within
Inside
myself where I feel content.
Fantastic.
So,
We said yoga and Qigong, and there was one more thing. Meditation.
Yeah. And I think some say meditation is part of a yoga practice.
Yes.
And you could say in a way that Qigong is meditation in motion. I mean, you meditate, but you move your body at the same time.
Yes.
But it helps you connect. We have so much intelligence inside ourselves, in our hearts, in our gut, in our brain, that we get access to when we get into this calmer state of mind.
All three of these ones, they kind of also they tap into self-awareness, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
To be breathing, to be aware of your body, your movement, or meditation. It's very much about being in the moment and within yourself, being aware of what you. Because you were mentioning also just breathing could be one thing to. Because once you think about your breath, you actually have to concentrate on yourself, that the air is coming in and it's going out.
Yes.
Although your body takes care of that all by itself when you're not thinking about it, but it makes you aware.
Yes. I think maybe it's 10 or maybe even 15 years ago, I found a book. I was traveling in Thailand, and in a hotel room I found this book. It was 7 practices for a healthy mind. A very simple, not very beautiful book, just very straightforward. 7 practices for a healthy mind, and there were 7 different practices for how to practice breathing. Very simple practices, actually. Okay. And I said, or I feel like, in a way, that's all that you need. You learn how to connect with your breath and let your breath help you connect to a calmer state. And then you become, because if you want to change things in your life, really, I think you have to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are separate from your thoughts. You can choose your thoughts. And when you realize that is when you can start to make real changes in your life.
Yeah.
But then you have to become more self-aware, and then you can sort of step out of yourself and see, okay, here am I and here are my thoughts. Those thoughts, they are not really beneficial for me right now. Let's choose other thoughts.
Something else, yes.
Yeah.
It sounds easy, but it can be quite difficult.
It's not easy.
When you're bombarded with outer things, it's very easy to be reactive onto what is coming towards you, as if what is actually coming towards you is created or creating. But you are creating the reaction, you're creating yourself to it. So it's kind of complicated, but sometimes it can be really difficult. And just small things could put you into just different states during the day. I mean, if you come home and there's bills and stuff lying about, it'll put you in a bad mood. Yeah,
absolutely. It happens to me too.
Yeah, it happens to everybody. It's a difficult task, but I understand fully what you're saying about how to try and get good things out of the situation.
Yes.
I actually did this not so long ago when I've been in Trelleborg, my hometown, and I'd been to the mall, and I didn't pay the parking fee. Because there was just some difficulties with the app, so I didn't. I just did and I came back and I saw from a distance that the parking ticket was there, and literally my thought was, there's the color for my logo.
Wow.
And so I took that, and I just, because I've been thinking about this color, and you will actually see it on the worth to be seen. The N is actually the yellow color of a parking ticket in Sweden.
Wow.
So I'm using that color as my accent color for my logos and other things also. So I kept that parking ticket just to remember, because I actually felt quite good about it. And that parking ticket was cheaper than if I probably had a consult getting the color for me. So I was done a favor there.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not able to do that every time something comes in my way. But that particular moment and that time, I was in that kind of state, and I made something good out of it.
Yeah, and it's very interesting the way you put it, because it's all about the meaning we give things.
Yes.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, even if you lose your job, it could be a devastating feeling. I know I have lost my job.
Yes.
But that that is really because we attach meaning to it, that it is something bad. It doesn't have to be something bad. It could be a portal to something completely new. And
exactly. And the same thing depending on from which perspective you're looking at it. A rainy day would be not so good if you want to go to the beach, but if you're a farmer, it's a good thing. So it's all about the perspective that you see on that same very event. Even I've thought about these when somebody goes to a football game and you have maybe 20,000 people going there, half of them are going to be disappointed.
Yes.
But they're watching the same game.
Yeah.
They're watching exactly the same thing, and half of them will be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's
so
kind
it's
of
something. Yeah, and we choose that.
Yes. Because what you could do actually, if whatever team is winning, I'll just say I rooted for that team.
Yes. And then you could be happy every day.
You could be happy every time. It doesn't matter who wins or not. You could just choose that particular place. Now today, this is the one I'm rooting for.
Yeah. I think that is really a superpower, to practice how to manage your thoughts, so you can choose different thoughts to feel better. And I mean, to be honest, I practice hours a day because I made this a priority in my life. I don't want to be run by external events and my reaction to those external events. And perhaps this is because I have always had quite a lot of anxiety. I don't know whether I was born with it or whether it was something I caught up early on in life. But for me, the priority is to feel good in my life, and in order to do that, I have to practice my self-awareness and also physical practices like going to the gym or going for a walk, and make sure that I feel good. That's first. Then I can be creative and do things in my business and go and speak to you and
those kind of things. Yes. Is there a way to identify this within yourself? Is there a way to know if this is a trigger in me that I could do something about, or could you feel it yourself, or could you identify those things that you have inside you?
I think the yoga mat is a really good place to start your exploration of self, to find out what's inside you and what it is and how you can manage your triggers. And I mean, the challenge is actually to bring your yoga practice. A lot of people go to yoga these days, but they kind of keep their practice in the yoga studio, and I think that's not okay. That is like the gym, but the interesting part is how you bring this awareness and groundedness into your life. So that is where you really practice yoga. That is when you are aware and can choose how you react to things and how you want to step forward, whether it's in your business or in your personal life.
Yes.
We can learn a lot when we learn or we have the courage to take a closer look at our triggers, where they come from, and what it is actually that is triggering. And often when we take this closer look, we can realize, okay, this also applied to other situations in my life, and then when we become aware, we can choose another reaction. But I believe that triggers, they carry information for us if we have the courage and patience to listen.
Is there a strategy to move past these things? Once you identify them and you still feel that you can't really do anything about them?
I think it's a combination of those things that you mentioned. Becoming more aware, practicing becoming calmer so you are not that reactive. And also when you're triggered, notice, now I get triggered. Why did this happen? What behavior would I like to choose in this moment? But also I think with all those things we're talking about now, sometimes you need to ask for help, either a therapist or a coach. I mean, I'm always working with either a coach or a therapist, or I go to groups, because we always have there is always more stuff. I mean, you can do this work. It's like brushing your teeth. It's not like you brush them once and then you're clean. No. You have to brush them every day, every morning, every night, because there are always new things coming up. And then I think it's really hard to do all this work on your own. I heard someone say it's like, it doesn't matter how skilled a brain surgeon is, he cannot do the surgery on himself.
No.
And I think it's about this with our limitations and fears and programming. It's really, really hard to program it and reprogram it ourselves. I think sometimes we need to take help. And one thing that I do too a lot is I read a lot. I think reading books on personal development, leadership, spiritual development, that helps you reprogram your mind if you want to do that, because then you hear the message over and over and over again, and you get these insights. This is me. This is why I do it. Oh my God!
Yes, you recognize yourself. I've done that.
And that is really helpful. So I think that is also a good way to start. If you don't really know where to start, to find a good book. Ask for a good book on.
Because sooner or later you might just stumble upon something that will kind of get that knot out of the way. I had we were talking here before we started. We were talking about having your own businesses and stuff, and I was telling you about when I had my own business. You know, I was stressed. I had a lot of things to do, and my children. I often said, you know, not now, wait until, and I've had this anxiety about that for a long time. Until I saw somebody, it was somebody who was talking on a TED Talk. He has a very unusual name, but he said something, it's your duty as a parent to disappoint your children in small proportions. And it kind of changed everything for me, because I'd done that. I've disappointed them. You know, so I was in fact, you know, kind of maybe doing them a small favor, but by not, you know, serving them this platter of a silver, you know, for them to think that they were going to live through all life. I prepared them for some obstacles on the way. And that, from that point on, you know, I haven't felt that bad about it anymore. So you never know when you stumble upon those words that will kind of help you through it.
Yeah.
I will have to ask you, you know, some of these triggers that we have, we can just leave them, let them be, as long as they're not interfering too much with our life, right?
Yes. Absolutely. I say that to people as well. If you think this is in some way hindering you from doing what you want, then it is a problem. Let's look at it and see if we can change. But if it isn't a problem, well...
Just back again, just a little bit ending here with the money issue, because that was what I was reflecting on when you had that ad there. When it comes to the values of being a business owner, because that is what you are working with mostly, but I guess it comes to life in general. The values of life, and as we see it being within money and finances, I guess you have learned then that there are other values also in life that are not attached to the amount of money that you have. You need enough in order to be safe. But after that, what do you need?
Well, what I have come to realize, well, it's not that astonishing or surprising, but that is that the relationships with other people, I haven't prioritized that enough in my life. I have let people who have not been that good to me, let them stay in my life, which has influenced the way I behave to other people. Because if you're always scared, angry, stressed, then you become an angry, stressed, sad person towards other people as well. But today I'm really, really grateful for the relationships I have in my life, and I really nurture those relationships. And the ones closest to me, of course, they are my 3 children, and I'm so grateful for the we have been through a lot of hardships, me and my 3 children, but today we have a really close connection, and also today I have some really close friends, the kind of friends you can call and ask for help, and they know they can call me and ask for help. And just spending time with the people that you really care about, and people that really care about you. I think that is I think that is the most important, that we tend to forget in our society. And also our health, to being healthy, to take care of our health to the best extent we possibly can. I mean, we don't all have to have it's not about having a perfect body, but it's about having a body that is that you feel good in, that you can move, that you feel energized and strong. I know, because just a couple of weeks ago I had the flu, a really bad strike of the flu, and then when you get well again you realize, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I'm healthy.
Not having a body that punishes you by pain. You could actually do quite a lot by just what you eat and exercise, moving, and those kind of things. It will make a huge impact on your overall. And when it comes to, you say, people, surrounding yourself with people who make you feel good, and trying to avoid the ones that don't. And something there also that I've thought about, when you do choose to leave people out of your life, it's not always necessary that you have to announce it even. You could just silently move away. Yes.
I think most people that sort of start working on themselves and changing and developing themselves, they notice that people just tend to disappear.
Yes.
Because you just don't have things in common anymore.
No.
And I also think that a lot of people, including me, then perhaps you have a period where you feel really, really lonely. You don't have a community. But I promise you, after a while, there will become new people.
Yes.
I have so many new people. I didn't know them 3-4 years ago, but today they are my closest friends.
And that is also normal, I think. During a span of a lifetime, there will be people coming and going, and it's not like a lifelong relation with everybody. On the contrary, there will almost always be like seasons. You have the spring and the summer and the autumn, and then the winter. It's all gone. And that is also normal. And I don't think you have to put too much thought into it, that people will come and go in your life.
No. And don't feel bad. It doesn't have to be a bad relationship. It is just that you don't kind of serve each other anymore.
True.
We have other things to do in our lives.
Yes.
And then sometimes we circle back. Things happen in their life, or things happen in your life, and all of a sudden you can connect again.
Yes, I've learned a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And we learn from each other, and that is also the good thing, to have an open mindset. And so I really, really appreciate your time here. It's been wonderful, and I'm sure that we will have all reasons to talk again.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. I don't want to stop. There are so many things we could dive into.
Let's do it on a new episode.
Yeah. That's a very good idea. And I will also invite you to my podcast, of course.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. And I will link to your podcast, and I will link to your whatever contact information you have on the in the descriptions below here, so people can get in contact with you. And yes, looking forward to next time.
Yeah, me
Thank
too.
you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.